What we're seeing right now is something pretty spectacular and something that I always thought was going to happen, and that is a massive, absolutely massive shift back towards focusing on hybrids and internal combustion engine vehicles, specifically in the category of sports cars and supercars. And I have four articles from four different manufacturers to prove this point. And then I'm going to go into Photoshop here and show you the top three, in my opinion. I don't know if there are really many more hypercars that are fully electric than the three we're going to have a look at, and the benefits of having an EV supercar like these ones that we have in Photoshop later on. But we have to go through and see what the manufacturers are saying here, because it's honestly pretty spectacular what the companies themselves are saying about their own plans moving forward with EVs. So first of all, Motor One, we're going to go through this pretty quick because we have four of these to go through. So nobody wants electric supercars, but why? To me, the why has always been there. I mean, it's obvious, because who would be the customer for a supercar EV? People who buy supercars, they buy it because they are super in every single aspect. The noise, the vibrations, the soul of the vehicle, and all of that is taken away when you put electric motors in these vehicles. And the same goes for the interior and the craftsmanship, the details when you open up the probably the rear end, because it's a mid-engine vehicle. You want to see this piece of art, the engine, the V12, the V8 under there, and all the components, all the connections and linkages and all of that stuff. That is part of the super. It's like a Swiss watch compared to an app. What's it called? Apple Watch. It's the same comparison there. The Apple Watch is 100 times more efficient in pretty much everything it does. But people would still pay up to $100,000, $200,000 for a properly crafted watch. And that's the exact same philosophy here when it comes to supercars. So nobody wants to like the supercars, but why? When once unattainable levels of power and performance are now available for a fraction of the price, that is also a good point at your local Hyundai dealership. It begs the question, why would anyone buy an electric supercar in the first place? That is a very, very good question. Probably because of the design. The design is the only reason I can see why anyone would buy a supercar EV, because you can make some crazy stuff with the designs now if you have an EV platform. The rise of electrification has democratized one of the supercars' most sought after traits. That is, of course, power. In a world where an electric 5-door can hit 60 miles per hour in 3.4 seconds for $68,000. Is spending the extra $150,000 for something that's half a second quicker really worth it? Or not just $150,000. I mean, the hypercars in this segment go well over $2 million. So is it really worth it? And when you think about it, you can get a Ferrari, you can get the new F80 for that type of money. I mean, who are the buyers for those type of vehicles? I honestly don't know. Maybe it's some startup tech nerd that's all into electronics and stuff like that, made a bunch of money real quick, sold their company, and still like the tech of EVs. They are probably could be the buyers for supercar EVs, but I don't know how big that niche is by itself. So one thing that might entice some supercar buyers is a longer range battery. I totally agree with that. But even that would be a short-lived desire that disappears as battery technology advances, and that's going to be available in everyday EVs pretty soon. So soon, every car will have the capability to be fast, which is something CEOs and automotive executive has taken note of. Tony Roma, the Corvette's boss, acknowledges that in a recent interview. Roma says that an electric Corvette would need to be engaging in a new way, since 0 to 60 times are meaningless. They really are meaningless these days. Talked about it in the previous video. Volvo EX30, I don't know what it's called. I can't remember, like $40,000, $50,000, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, stuff like that. 0 to 60 times is just a number that doesn't mean anything anymore. And Mate Rimac told us last year that the company is having a hard time selling its Nevera hypercar. Koenigsegg and Pagani has echoed the same sentiment, saying that their customers simply don't want a battery-powered hypercar. And I totally can see that. Now, electric vehicles lack the personality that defines what we love so much about combustion-powered cars. The smell, the sound, the feel, things that make each model unique and gives the car, of course, a specific personality depending on what type of powertrain, what type of engine is powering it. It's going to give it a totally different personality. Then you have the Ioniq 5N, 641 horsepower, under $70,000, and it is a Hyundai. I mean, come on, Hyundais these days are way quicker than Ferraris of probably just 10 or 15 years ago. So as cars embrace technology and software, we'll likely be able to make any car feel, act, and sound like other makes or models through the digitization of the automobile. If EVs do win out, some supercar makers may not survive the transition. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're always going to be supercars with proper engines, internal combustion engines, at least for the foreseeable future. I'm talking 50 years. In the future. So this is the next article from Motor One here. The electric Ferrari isn't coming this year. Maranello's first EV won't show up until 2026. So Ferrari is just about everyone to believe it would reveal its inaugural EV this year at October 9th. And it was supposed to be called the Elettrica. Will be unveiled in a 3-phase process. This is also very, very interesting. I think this is Ferrari's way of slowly getting a feel for how the market is going to react to a Ferrari EV. So initially, they're going to start with the technological heart. That is phase 1, going into the details about the powertrain and so on. And then, I think if that is received decent, at least, they're going to go on with the second stage. Takes place next year when Ferrari will showcase the look and feel of the interior design concept. So we don't have any exterior design until the third phase. I think this is Ferrari's way of saving a little bit of money maybe, and making sure that they don't waste money on something that nobody really wants. I think that is the reason why they're doing this. Hi, Rosie. Hi, Rosie. What is it, Rosie? I'm recording right now, okay? So the actual world premiere is scheduled for a few months later, sometime in the spring of 2026. Very, very interesting to hear that from Ferrari. The company's first model without a combustion engine will be assembled at a new facility called the E-Building. So they already built an entire building to manufacture EVs. Despite its name, actually it's going to do both. So it's going to produce both EVs, ICE, and also hybrid models moving forward. The plant was inaugurated last year. It will emit... So here is what the head of product marketing says. It will emit an authentic sound, whatever that means. Additionally, the CEO has said that electric cars are not silent. However, they are though. They are silent by nature. So any EV that's not silent when you're driving it, it's all artificial. It's not part of the natural sound of what an EV sounds like. An EV by nature is it's a fact silent. So adding the Ferrari's EV will have feature sound signatures. You have this test mule modified Maserati Levante body and fake quad exhausts. If you see these exhausts, they look almost comical, and it's also parked next to a full charger, so it's pretty obvious that it is an EV. Was heard producing aggressive noises despite the absence of an internal combustion engine. And this would blow my mind if Ferrari does something like that. If they actually make an EV with fake exhaust noises, I don't know what I'm going to say about that if that actually happens. We're going to have to wait and see. But it sounds completely ridiculous. So according to recent patents, the fakery might even extend to simulated gear shifts. So it's not one of the 6 models Ferrari plans to launch in 2026. So they're delaying this. And Lamborghini says the same thing. So now we have 3 articles here saying the exact same thing from different brands. So Lamborghini says, now it's not the time for an electric supercar. Lamborghini's entire lineup is now hybridized, but releasing an EV sports car would still be the wrong move, says the Lamborghini CTO. So introducing pure EVs, not hybrids, seems like the only path forward, with the legislation and public pressure coming down on manufacturers. But that pressure has since reversed course, almost doing a 180, with electric car sales faltering and government walking back aggressive EV mandates. So with demands for extravagant high displacement ICE cars greater than ever, it's clear Lamborghini Lamborghini's gamble of only making hybrids has paid off, obviously. An all-electric supercar from the brand wouldn't succeed, they say. You have seen a lot of electric cars on the market that were not really successful. The CTO, I think, says here. So all of the 3 models in its current lineup, the V12 Power Revuelto, the twin-turbo Temerario, and of course the Urus SUV, now feature some kind of electric assistance. I'm totally fine with that, even though I would like to have like a pure lightweight Lamborghini with a V8. V8 is fine to just keep the emissions down. You don't have to put a V12 in there without any hybrid assistance. That would be very, very interesting for me to see. Just a very raw Lamborghini. I don't know if they can make it because of regulations today. So I'm super happy with our current lineup, he says, because with a hybridized lineup, we can live for the next decade. Lamborghini needs to have the transition to electric power because it's only a question of time when the mindset will change. I'm not sure, though. I mean, real proper car enthusiasts, we have to die off before this mindset is going to change, because we still have the memories of what these brands used to be. And we don't want that to die off during our lifetime, at least. So I don't know about the next generations. That might be a mindset change at that point. But if it happens, I feel very sorry for them for not having to experience the cars we have now, and also going back. So Lamborghini plans to launch its first all-electric car in 2028, and that is going to be the Lanzador concept that we see right here. It's an SUV, or sort of an SUV. I'm not sure what to call this. It's a coupe SUV, 2+2 Grand Tourer. It looks pretty good. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Lamborghini is not going to drop a proper hypercar EV as their first EV. They want to, again, make sure that it's received well before they put a lot more money into EV production. So it's clear that a full electric car from Lamborghini has to have this kind of excitement factor. It's not only about maximum power, maximum acceleration. These are commodities today. Totally agree with that. So it should have the same kind of roughness and excitement as the brand gas-powered car. I'm not sure how. I have no idea, honestly, how they're going to make an EV as exciting as, I mean, if you have ever driven a Lamborghini, the 90% of the excitement is the harsh gear shifts that kicks you in the back, the noise, the vibration that feels like the engine is bolted straight into your back. That is what makes a Lamborghini exciting to drive. And then we talked about the Ioniq 5 and with the paddle shift transmission. And Lamborghini says they appreciate this innovation. He doesn't think it would mesh well with the Lamborghini brand. I totally agree with that, in contrast to what Ferrari is saying, that they might put something like that into their EVs, which I think is the complete wrong way to go. If you ask me, the simulator gears are fitted to the Lamborghini. If the Lamborghini gears are fitted to the Lamborghini brand, he says not so much. But we have to convince the customers that the electric driving experience is something more than you cannot have in the combustion world. Only then can you convince emotional buyers to stay electric. Again, very, very big challenge there. How do you convince internal combustion engine buyers to buy an electric car? He says they need to make something that is even more exciting than the internal combustion engine versions, which is, of course, going to be extremely hard to do. And then we have Jaguar and Range Rover. New plans dropped just yesterday. Plans suddenly pushed back. So at least 4 different electric models across the 2 brands are affected by the delay. More than 60,000 people have reportedly signed up for Range Rover's first electric SUV. Jaguar, meanwhile, is staking its entire brand on this thing, this fridge up here. Going to be very interesting to see. I can't wait to see how that is going to be received in the sales numbers the first year, second year. If it goes up, if it goes down, we're going to have to wait and see. But I have my suspicion what's going to happen. So as we reported earlier today, Jaguar Land Rover Group is cutting up to 500 management jobs in the UK, which is, of course, not good. Not good news. So tariffs are hitting the company hard. A new report says that Jaguar Land Rover is pushing back the launch of the Range Rover EV and 2 Jaguar EVs. Previously, Land Rover had targeted a late 2024 release for its electric SUV. and Jaguar was scheduled to drop mid-2026. Those dates are now pushed back as the company is waiting to allow for more testing and for demand to pick up. But the thing is, how is demand supposed to be picked up if customers have no reference or no, they don't have an example of why they should be more excited about these? Does that make sense? If they don't drop these vehicles, there's nothing to make me excited about them. You know, camo images like this is not going to make me excited about it, and I don't think the majority of people either. So by 2030, JLR will sell electric versions of all of its luxury brands. Our plans and vehicles architectures are flexible, so we can adapt to different markets and client demands, which is great to see, because I think they need to have that for sure. If they want to stay alive, they can't just bet everything on this vehicle, Jaguar. I mean, what are you doing? It's so sad to see. The Jaguar is I hope not, but they're probably going to go out of business in the next 10 years if they don't do anything about this and drop some cool internal combustion, or at least hybrid versions of beautiful looking cars. Again, not these cars that we see right here. So jumping into Photoshop here, I want to show you why I think some of like I have the names and the prices of these cars. The Evija, the Evija right here, 2,000. I wish it was $2,000. $2,400,000. Then we have the Battista from Pininfarina, 2.2 million. Rimac Nevera, 2.2 million as well. Looking at the Lotus here, these are designs that you simply cannot make an internal combustion car with these type of graphics designs. It's just impossible, because the reason being, this entire car is a funnel that wraps around the cockpit of the bonnet cockpit of the driver right here. You have holes in it. It's like a skeleton, this vehicle, and this is a brand new way of designing cars that you could not do with an internal combustion engine, because you have all this open space within the body of the car that doesn't require to house, transmissions or engines anymore. Instead, you have a battery pack down here. You have two motors, smaller than a V12 for sure, on the front axle. And the rest of the body, you can do whatever you want. So you can create these incredible aerodynamic features for these vehicles. And I think the Evija, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, is the best example of that. Because when you look at this Lotus from a rear view, you can see, I mean, just two tunnels, two big massive holes in the rear end where air flows through the side intake right here and right through the back end, creating some incredible, probably some serious downforce. And the handling of this has to be on a completely different level compared to an internal combustion engine. Then we had the Battista. This looks clearly like a Ferrari to me, a little bit like a Ferrari, specifically in the front end. Since it is Pininfarina, we do have the Pininfarina typical roofline here, going back to the 458, one of the most beautiful Ferraris of all time. It's a beautiful looking machine. It looks mid-engine, this. It doesn't have the same innovations in the design like we have in the Lotus up top, but it's still a beautiful design. But again, $2.2 million for this. I think Michael Jordan, or maybe it was Shaq, I can't remember, who bought a Battista. He also bought the one-off drop-top version of the same vehicle, because he already was an owner of the Battista. Not sure how much the drop-top costs, probably around 2.6, I would assume, something like that. But it still looks very, very cool. And then last but not least, we have the Rimac Nevera down here, which also has a very cool design. This is more of a traditional-looking sports car design. It almost looks like the Corvette C7, like front engine design here, but I do like the graphics in here and the charging lights here with the carbon fiber looking very, very clean. So the future for EVs is pretty, EV supercars is pretty up in the air right now. Companies don't know what they want to do. They are very uncertain of how this is going to go moving forward. It's going to be very interesting to see in the next year specifically how companies are going to try to solve this issue and figure out what exactly do we want to do? Do we want to spend all this money on this when there's absolutely zero demand? They say so themselves. Or what do we do? Do we go into hybridization or back to internal combustion engines? I certainly hope that we see more, at least hybrid versions from these companies, because that to me is what supercars and hypercars is all about, the engine, the noise, and the passion.